Tansei Tatawao. Hello and welcome back. I'm Sipaku Waskatawi Win, Blue Lightning, and I'm here today with part 6 of my video segments of my Cree heritage, spiritual beliefs, cosmic views, some of the legends and stories, and a little bit of knowledge on our ways of life, and a little bit of my family's history and ancestry. So I guess the last video I was talking about the gifted ones. So to continue on with that topic, we spoke a little bit about the spirit beings and the guardians and deep spiritual connections that are made through ceremony and honor and blessings. So when we carry that in our life, our connections to the spirit world, we honor all those guardians and in our practices and our ceremonies and throughout the year. Like throughout the year, there's different times where we honor the sun or we honor, I should say, the different moon or the harvest times, the years, the seasons of the animals. Uh, with that being said, the gifted ones, when they hold these blessings true to themselves, they have to honor that throughout their life and throughout their practice. So they're always one with that relationship in this universe, and that animal or guardian that ends up bestowing upon them a blessing. Sometimes the person that has these blessings ends up having the abilities of that connection. So sometimes people are blessed through electricity, or some people are blessed through like different animals, and they have the abilities to transform into these animals. When I said electricity, some people can actually travel with electricity, or smoke, turn into smoke, and teleport around and stuff with the wind. Sometimes the wind spirits can bring them or take them around. So, a lot about a little bit about the teachings of this. So, there are some people like that will learn some stuff in this world, like native world. Like they'll learn a few teachings or learn a few things here and there, and sure they might know of a few like things to work with, and that's fine. And but what I was taught in my life was Mr. Haya would always say the ones who were honoring and following this way of life, they would receive these blessings through ceremony in the dream world, and they'd get these blessings through universe, and that's those people who would carry these blessings into our world because they were meant to, and to be one with this world in that way, this existence in that way. And those are the real ones. And a lot of times people like they have to use these abilities for the way that they have to honor them, like if it's through healing, or if it's through say if they walk this life, they bring that wisdom with them from that connection, or there's all many ways that these blessings are bestowed upon the person or the individual that's made the connection and does the walk of life, I should say. And so, like, a lot of times the blessed ones, they will carry like they will honor that being through their art. They'll make like a painting of them, or like like in the ancient world you'd make a painting on your on the side of a teepee, or sometimes you'd make a painting on the side of a mountain where you had this vision of the being that came to visit you. So sometimes a lot of times there's a lot of beautiful art left from the ancient world out there in the natural world. That's like some of these spiritual beings or tales or messages from these beings that have left the blessings for the world to see, or or to hear or feel. So it's also appreciated and honored through art, and then also to people sometimes they will have like a hide or a piece of that animal will be gifted to them from the universe or from the natural world. Sometimes, not all the time. And that's a blessing in itself and a higher honor. Just like all the blessings are like the highest honor you could achieve in this existence. So it's very important to honor that and to keep it very pure. And like I said, to use the blessings for good, and because that's the way you honor it, right, in your existence in the walk of life. So that's something that's like Neo-Win Neo-Wak belief there when it comes to the gifted ones, and deep connection to spirituality and the higher realms of our existence, and the guardians and the elements, spirits, and of that dimensional framework. Now, to mention a story my father told me, and he was just a young boy, and his father knew a man in the area, local area, because my father came from another reserve, right? And yeah, this man he was a very spiritually gifted individual. He performed a lot of ceremonies, and he was well known in the area for healing and his deep connection. Like he was almost like a guardian of the forest himself too. Like he always knew where to find different things, or if people needed something, they'd often ask for his guidance, and he'd help them find things in the woods. And he was a very well respected guy. And in that time out there, like near that reserve, there was only like a bar, but everybody hung out there to go eat, and like it was just kind of like a tavern. Like it wasn't really to go get drunk or whatever, right? But the guy would always go order soup there. Anyway, he would always he'd always like order soup, and he'd always like my dad's dad would always say, he'd always brag and say, I can outrun the train from here to McLennan. And McLennan from that reserve is like pretty far. Like it's a far distance. Even back then maybe there was like one or two vehicles or a truck or whatever. Like back then it was, cars are still a rarity out here in the north. So there's some people that worked hard and got some, but like but back then, like, it was like kind of like a rarity just out here in our communities and stuff like that. So anyway, the train would stop in that reserve that my dad was from, and it would drop rations off there, and then it would go on to the next town, kind of deal. And that was like a government thing, that they would drop rations off for the natives that lived on reserves and stuff. Part of the treaty. And Katataskapek, which means run fast, would race the train in his animal form. And my dad's dad asked the train operator, and would be like the train conductor, and he'd be like, so you guys notice anything like odd, like along the tracks? And they're like, yeah, we always see this coyote like running, and it always beats us to every stop along our way. We always see it, and then it makes itself known, and then it just takes off in the woods, and we don't see it until the next stop. And so my dad's dad knew that that guy that had that ability, and so he kind of believed him, but he really wanted to make sure. So One night after that guy, it was like during the winter, and the snow was on the ground, heavy snow, like a deep snow, and that guy left the bar. So my dad's dad waited for runs fast to get over the train track bridge before he started following him, and he ends up taking off like fast, right? Like he took off, he was gone, like out of sight. But my dad's dad followed the tracks, and sure enough, they turned into a coyote after the last house in that neighborhood that had that tavern. So he followed the tracks back to the reserve and follow those coyote tracks, and he went, like, were following alongside the track, like the train track on the in the like the ditch kind of side area nearing the forest line and whatever, right? And sure enough, because that guy runs fast had his house just nearby the train track, and my dad's dad found the tracks leading into his house, and just before they got in, they turned back into human form. So he knew he knew that he had that ability, and he could change and into an animal and shapeshift, or become that animal. And he never used it for bad, or he just, like, he was a very deep connection to spirituality, and that's some connection that he discovered within himself, or made, right? And lived the life, and like I said, he never used it for wrong or for bad. He was never known for anything like that. Like I said, he was more or less known for his deep spirituality and knowledge of the woods and wisdom, and people respected him for that. And they just took his word for it, and never like pushed it upon him to like show me, or what I mean, because like at the end of the day, it was a respected thing, like for us and our people. Like we just leave that like as a respect, and kind of like that's the way you kind of like you just show them respect of it too, for that blessing. And yeah, so there's that story. And then like I said, I've heard of other tales, like where some of my my other, like, my dad's brother went down south for a sweat lodge ceremony, and like he was invited out there, so he went, and there was a real lot of people, and they were having this sweat lodge, and it was just like a basic like healing ceremony, cleansing ceremony, becoming one with the earth again, back into the womb of Mother Earth. And after the sweat lodge ceremony, that when they were done, the medicine man, he was like, okay, you guys go on ahead, I'll meet you guys back at the house, he said. And sure enough, they walked back. It was a real long walk, and sure enough, when they got there, he was already sitting there at the deck, because he had the ability, like, move with the teleportation, or move with the smoke or the wind. I'm not sure, but he had that deep connection. So they all knew he was one of the real ones. And like I said, people, it was kind of, like I said, we kind of know it as the gifted ones or blessed ones, and it's usually people that have that real deep connection to the natural world. It's not like it's never a negative thing, because the people have to be on such a heightened level of dimensional framework that it's like it's a blessing, it's achievement, right? It's a high honor. Yeah, so, and for my personal experience, it's tied to ceremony, and like I said, high dimensional framework. So I won't go into the full ceremony, because there's so many different elements of that ceremony that happened, that when I bring up specific spiritual beings, I'll bring it up then with those videos. So for now, I'll just make it very, very simple here. And yeah, so we're going over the 15-minute mark, which which is fine for now. Like, this story won't be too long. Um, so it was my rite of spiritual path to go through a spirit quest or star journey or vision quest, as a lot of people might know it, or fasting. But this natural world fast is done in a very different way than most think it's done. So, like I said, I'll go into different parts about it later with different videos. So I don't mind sharing this here. I don't mind sharing this now because this is my experience, and I've already shared this experience with like other podcasts and radio shows and stuff like that. So I don't mind saying it here again. So this is my experience with a dimensional, like on a dimensional framework, a dimensional shapeshifter. And so I was on my spirit journey, and it was like it was during the night, and I remember I was sitting there and I was just in my concentration, and I was sitting there in prayer, breathing, and all of a sudden it was just like a flash, or not really a flash, but just kind of like just like it just changed all of a sudden. Boop. Like I was behind my house, and I was looking at the back side of my house, and there's a forest behind me. I could still see the lights on, and I'm like, how am I here? Like, what is like, whoa, like how did I get here? You know, like just from, I should be like miles and miles back and deep in the woods. Like, you know, I was kind of like whoa, like looking around, like I'm here at my house, you know, and it's still nighttime. Like I can still see the moon in the sky, and as I'm looking around, I saw this guy standing there behind my house, and he was just, it was like a dark silhouetted trench coat, like wearing figure, and he had this cowboy hat on, and he's sitting there with this lit cigarette, and every time he puffed, I could see the embers of the cherry. It would glow a little brighter, but then his face was still hidden in this, like, you know, in the shroud of night, right? And so I'm watching him, and he takes another puff, and I can see the smoke like going off, and all of a sudden it was just like it was like a trickle of water, you know, like on a window, just transformed into this bear. And this bear just come running at me, like real fast, like running at me. And I was so, like, I wasn't scared of the bear or like taken off guard by the bear. What it was that it was intriguing me and kind of left me in a state of like I was like enamored and in awe, like awestruck by this like transformation, because I'd never seen anything like that. Like it was like a trickle on the water, like from a raindrop on a window, like just trickling down, and it just transformed into this bear. And as it ran at me, I was because I didn't have no fear, and because I was just intrigued by how it did that, it just ran past me into the woods behind me, and so I turned and I watched it, and it just stopped, and it was just walking into the woods. And so I was like, okay, so I was like, that must mean I have to go back. That's the way I took it. So I started following it back into the woods, and just like in this, from that dimensional world or that dimensional plane, just kind of like I was just back in my ceremonial, like my area. And I'm like whoa, like that had to have happened, you know, like, but on the higher dimensional frequency, or like I said, that dimensional world, you know, and that was like an interaction with that, you know, guardian spirit, or, you know, that was able to shapeshift and transform. And like I said, I was a very, very like in tune, higher frequency moment in my life that like I said, it still sticks with me till this day. And so there's that with shapeshifters and transformation, the gifted ones. And so that's like what we're connected, like our connections, the Neowak beliefs on it are. And I just wanted to kind of leave it off on there for now, because like that's our human, our natural world connections. Like that's something we can achieve and honor and get and possibly receive blessings of. There are other beings out there though that do have shape shifting and transformation abilities, and uh, some of those beings are, not as friendly as us human beings. Some of those otherworldly beings, other dimensional beings. I will talk more about that in the next segment, shall we? I'll see you guys around. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you appreciated it. Like and subscribe. I appreciate everyone for the new subscribers. Thank you so much for showing your support. And like I said, I'll see you on the next one.